Good evening, everyone. Beruchim Aba'im B'Shem Hashem. It's a great pleasure and honor to see everyone here. Tonight, I actually want to start with an amazing story, short, yet very powerful, that I heard many years ago and made an enormous impact in my life. This story is about this young Avrich. Ben Torah was about 25 years of age, that Baruch Hashem had the merit to have his first child. He's with his wife in the hospital, and moments after the baby boy was born, he ran to his Rabbi after making sure that his wife is okay. He ran to his Rabbi, extremely excited and happy and joyful. And he went to his Rabbi and he said, Rabbi, I have a 2-hour-old baby. I have a 2-hour-old baby boy. Please give me the foundation of the proper education I can give to my son. We are at the beginning stage, and this has just happened. What are the foundations, ideas, and skills that I need in order to be able to raise my child with a proper education? His Rebbe looked at him and he said, my dear, you came to me 25 years too late. You came to me 25 years too late. The understanding of this story, it's so remarkable if we pay attention to it. You heard that story before? It's a remarkable story. Because so many of us, when we are in a relationship, in parenting, and in education in general, when we are in the system of education, we always know that there is the mechanech, the educator, and if you wish in English, I don't know if it's proper or not, but if you wish, the educatee, the student and the teacher, the son and the parent. And we always believe subconsciously that in order to teach the child, we need to have the skills of what is the education process fit to this child. What this Rabbi is telling this student, this young Avrich that just had a baby, and what he actually is telling him, that education of your child starts with the education of your own self. In other words, who you are as a mechanech, as a teacher, as a parent, will determine tremendously, powerfully, what kind of education you're going to give to your son. So today, as we are about to start Be'ezrat Hashem Parashat VAERA, we know that the dynamics of Parashat VAERA are basically representing the education process that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take Paro through for this entire period of time of the plagues that we know, Dam, Sephardea, Kinim, Arov, etc. We know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving this education system to Paro to make sure that in the end of the process, the message of who runs this world, Vida'atem ki ani Hashem, Leman ted'a Mitzrayim ki en kamoni b'chol ha'aretz, to instill into Paro and the Egyptians the idea of who is the CEO of this universe. He had to take Paro through this process from beginning to end until the end of Makat Bechorot, that Am Yisrael are ready to get free out of Egypt. Said, okay, so that's clear. What I would like to discuss today is basically to pay a little attention in one of the most powerful foundation skills that we need to have in order to understand not only what was the messages Paro had to receive, but also what does it take from the leader, what does it take from the educator that was chosen by Borei Olam, Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom. What are the skills that the educator has to have, or rather has to be, in order to be able to take Paro through this journey? And before we begin to that topic of how Moshe Rabbeinu handled that as the leader within the instructions of Borei Olam, I want to share with you that this idea is an idea and a topic. I had a conversation with one of my great, great friends in the city known as Lakewood, New Jersey. I don't know if you've ever been you have been there. I don't know if you have been ever in general in Lakewood, New Jersey, but it's a great, great, great place. Makom Torah, a tremendous Makom Torah in America, maybe one of the greatest in the world. And I have a very, very good friend who happened to be an attorney too. His name is Joseph Moskowitz. Joseph Moskowitz, I don't know if you ever had a chance. I don't promote anything here. I never promote it, but I can promote him as a friend because he is a genius attorney in Lakewood, New Jersey, and a real estate attorney. And I had the privilege to use his support in something I had to do in Lakewood in that realm of real estate. And my experience with him was so tremendous because this is the combination of someone who is super professional in his work as a real estate attorney in Lakewood, Joseph Moskowitz, that's his name. You should use him if you want. And at the same time, is a true Ben Torah, it's a true Talmid Hacham that I found fascinating to deal with such a person that is an extremely professional person and a Ben Torah, and you will understand in a second why. Because in one of my interactions with Joseph was, by the way, I don't like the name Joseph. Yosef, that's his name, Yosef Moskowitz. And one of my interactions with him was when he did some work for me, and I simply felt to thank him. And I said, Joseph, I really want to thank you for what you did for me. Because I felt that hakarat hatov, recognizing the goodness that someone does for you, requires an acknowledgement. It's very simple, isn't it? It requires acknowledgement. So I told him, hey, Joseph, I just want you to know that I'm truly appreciate what you're doing. I'm full of gratitude and grateful for your help. He looked at me and he said, I don't understand why you're so excited to acknowledge what I did. I did my work. I simply did my work. And you paid for it. I said, that is true, you did your work, but I don't think there is a contradiction between you did your work, and even if I paid for it, for me to acknowledge and appreciate and express gratitude, because this is the foundation of Hakarat Hatov. And from this conversation, we got into a real deep dialogue, if you wish, about the entire concept of Hakarat Hatov. The entire concept of Hakarat Hatov, Rabotai, is obviously one of the most fundamental concepts that we have to live by, and we experience that on a daily basis, and I will go into details. But before we begin of anything, I just want to put a question on the table that we dealt with, me and Joseph Moskowitz. The question is like this. I'm going to take you to Bet Midrash for a little while. I'm going to take you to the world of hakirot and analysis within the Torah, which anyone who experienced learning Torah in Bet Midrash knows that this is the flavor of Gan Eden Alei Adamot. This is the best flavor of Gan Eden in this world when we are debating Torah in a very deep way. Here is the question I want to put on the table for our today's conversation that I had with him. What is hakarat hatov in general? Let's start with this. Hakarat hatov in a simple way. You did something for me, either a favor or service or whatever you want to call it. You did something for me. I have to acknowledge my gratitude towards what you did for me. That's what it's called, hakarat hatov. Hakara is recognition and awareness of the goodness you did for me. And then, obviously, as a payment, so to speak, or as my way of return to you, should be accordingly. In other words, if you did something good to me, you are not expecting from me to do anything negative to you. It's called mishalem ra'a tahat tova. Bar minan, if you pay in bad reaction and bad return to somebody who did something good for you, you are obviously a terrible human being. That's the general idea of hakarat hatov. The general idea of hakarat hatov is open your eyes. Open your eyes if somebody did something good to you, acknowledge it, recognize it, identify it, and always try to give back in goodness, which is common sense and apparently a normal way to do things in life. But the debate was like this. The question on the table was like this. Is acknowledging goodness, is hakarat hatov, I'm going to use the term in Hebrew because in Hebrew it sounds much stronger and much clearer. Is hakarat hatov a natural human behavior? In other words, if you are following human nature, normal people, if you wish to call, I don't know, a long time ago, what's the definition of normality, but for the sake of the conversation, if you are a normal human being, somebody did something good for you, you need to recognize it, and you will pay back in return with goodness. That's called a normal, natural human reaction. And if you don't have hakarat hatov, if you do not own the skill of recognizing goodness and give back in returns with goodness, if you are mishalem ra'a tahat tova, something is wrong with you. In other words, naturally, hakarat hatov should be in place in any human's heart. And if you are the kind of a person that doesn't know how to do this, you get this, right? And if you don't have that skill, if you don't follow this characteristic, something is wrong with you. For the sake of the conversation, if you're healthy, you have hakarat hatov. If you are sick, you don't have it. I'm emphasizing the words healthy and sick for the sake of the conversation, not for any other purpose. Or maybe, is a little different. Maybe hakarat hatov is not natural. Maybe hakarat hatov in human nature is not something that everybody do. A healthy, natural human being don't really have hakarat hatov. It doesn't. And if you own the skill of hakarat hatov, it is only the result of a very hard personal growth and development. You worked on your midot, you worked on developing the skill, you become a person of hakarat hatov. In other words, you become greater than your own self. So if you want to sum it up, the question on the table was like this. Is hakarat hatov considered a natural behavior? And if you don't have it, go see a therapist? Or hakarat hatov is a skill that only few people with hard sweating work can achieve in life. So where are we? By the way, when you hear this question, you can just sit at home or anywhere you are now when you're listening to it and ask yourself, how is my grade in hakarat hatov? How grateful am I in my life, towards people, towards Borei Olam. How grateful am I? How much am I expressing gratitude and goodness? What am I emphasizing in my life? The gratitude, the joy, counting my blessings versus complaining and whining and finding always what doesn't work in my life. But that's what Hakarat HaTov is all about. And the question is, what is Hakarat HaTov? Is it a natural human behavior or it is not? And in order to do it, you need to work on yourself. Now, I'm not going to go into the back and forth that I had with Joseph about this, but I can tell you this. We need to understand that the question of Hakarat HaTov, it's not just another skill that if we have, we're good. If we don't have, we have some room of improvement. We have some room of growth. We need to know that Hakarat HaTov in the eyes of Hachamim is nothing but the foundation of everything we do in our lives. The foundation of our relationship with Borei Olam, the foundation of our relationship with people, the foundation of our relationship with our spouses, the foundation of our, if you wish, existence of humanity as people. I will never forget one of the stories that made that point very clear. I heard about one of the Dayanim, and one of a young judge in a Bedin, a Dayan in Bet Hadin, that just became a Dayan. I was very excited. It's a new job and it's an honorable position to be a Dayan. And this Dayan, before he started the work, he went to his Rabbi. And he went to his Rabbi and he wanted to consult with him on something. He went to his Rabbi and he said, Rabbi, I have a question for you. I know, and it's very clear to me, that the Torah in Parashat Shoftim, middle towards the end of Chumash Devarim, the Torah said that a Dayan, the Torah prohibited from the Dayan, from a judge, to take bribe. Lo tikach shohad. You shall not accept bribe. Lama? Why not? The Torah said, why not? The Torah said, כי השוחד יעוור עיני חכמים ויסלף דברי צדיקים. Because bribe has power to mislead you on the decision that you are going to make, and it will lead you to judge in an injustice way versus what the Torah wants you to judge, tzedek, tzedek, tirdof, completely with justice. So do not take bribe, because you are going, by accepting bribe, you're going to mess up the end result of your verdict, of your pesach din. So this rabbi asked this young Dayan, goes to his Rabbi and he said, Rabbi, I have a question for you. I know the Torah said that you shall not accept shohad. I get this, I understand that. But here's my question. I know that the Torah said that if you take bribe from one side of the parties, from one party, your heart will turn to his side. And you might end up judging in injustice. But Rabbi, I get this. But what if I know myself? Think about it, it's amazing. What if I know myself and I know that I have the capability, I have such a strong soul, I have the capability of accepting $10,000 from one side, and my heart will not turn to his side. I know I can get $10,000 and I don't feel anything towards him. Can I take bribe? Can I accept bribe? Because the only concern the Torah has is when I accept bribe from one side, that my heart will turn to his side. But if I know that I can accept the $10,000 and feel nothing for him, that means I can stay objective. And if I can stay objective, am I allowed to take bribe? Because in the end of the day, the Torah has nothing to worry about my level of justice. Do you get the question? This Rabbi probably took a very deep sigh listening to the question, and he turned to his student and he said, listen to me, my dear. And this story, I have to tell you, made an enormous impact in my life. It has so many ramifications in life, but listen to this. This Rabbi looked at his student and he said, listen, if you take shohad, if you accept bribe, and your heart turns towards the person who gave you the money, you are a dayan rasha. You are an evil judge. Because the Torah said you shall not accept shohad because you're going to mess up the din. So if you took the $10,000 and you feel for this person and you still act as a judge, you are an evil judge. Dayan rasha. But if you can take $10,000 from a person and you feel nothing towards him, you're just a behemoth. You're just an animal. And behemoth cannot be a judge to begin with. If you can claim, you see how powerful it is, right? It's amazing. If you can claim, I can get $10,000 from you and feel nothing, no feeling of hakarat hatov, no feeling of recognizing and feel for that, you're just a dead person. You're just an animal. And an animal cannot be a judge to begin with. That makes sense? So you see that hakarat hatov is not a preferable skill. It's not a privileged skill to have. What it basically tells us is that if you have hakarat hatov, you consider a human being. And if you do not have hakarat hatov, your fundamental human skills are not there, are missing. So I think it is definitely a concept we need to dig in to try to understand this hakarat hatov issue, because the ramifications of this concept is so tremendous and so powerful in our lives. I started by saying today that before we take Paro into the education process, we need to pay attention to the mehanech of Paro, which was Moshe Rabbeinu, obviously with the instructions of Borei Olam. And you will see very quickly that Borei Olam is giving Moshe Rabbeinu instructions of what kind of a person he needs to be, what kind of a mehanech he has to be in order to be able to give that lessons, to convey those messages and lessons to Paro. There is no way you can convey a message if you are not qualified to do this. I say to a lot of people, a lot of couples that I work with, and you can hear the wife says, I'm telling him and I'm trying to tell him this and I'm trying to tell him that. And you look at her and she's right. She's giving her husband, oh, by the way, vice versa, it's the same thing. They're giving each other great messages, great lessons. So sometimes I can tell them, listen, the lessons you're giving are powerful. and they're beautiful. But you're the worst teacher to convey those messages. It's not always then when we have the right message, we are qualified for the message, and that's a big topic. But we will see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, I don't know if I should use the word educating or instructing Moshe Rabbeinu what he needs to be in order to qualify to take Paro through this process. An vida'atem ki ani Hashem. Listen to this, Rabotai. We know that Parashat VAERA contains the first 7 plagues, Sheva Makot, out of the Aseret Makot that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to Paro and to the Egyptians. And the first one, we see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling Moshe Rabbeinu the following words. Makadam, the first Makadam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says in Parashat VAERA, Perek Zayin, Pasuk Yutet, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, Emor el Aharon, even though Moshe Rabbeinu was the one who was in charge of this journey, of educating Paro. ויאמר השם אל משה, אמור אל אהרון, קח מטך ונטה ידך על מימי מצרים, על נהרותם, על יאוריהם ועל אגמיהם, ועל כל מקווה מימיהם, ויהיו דם. והיה דם בכל ארץ מצרים, ובעצים ובאבנים. So you see that in general, ideally, or theoretically at least, the pasuk should say, "Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, kach matecha u'mtei yadecha." You go ahead, take the stick, take your mate, and hit the Yeor, hit the Nile, and turn the Nile into blood. But here we see that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, emor el Aharon." Aharon should do it, not you. Makat Dam was not performed by Moshe Rabbeinu, but rather by Aharon with the instructions of Borei Olam that that's the way it should be. Lama? Rashi HaKadosh said, Emor el Aharon, on Pasuk Yutet, לפי שהגן היאור על משה כשנשלח לתוכו. לפיכך לא לקה על ידו, לא בדם ולא בצפרדעים, ולקה על ידי אהרון. Basically, if we understand Rashi HaKadosh in a simple way, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu, the Yeor should be punished, the Yeor should turn into blood, but you are not the one that should do the work. You're not the one to give this message. Who should do it? Aharon. Lama? Because Aharon, because the Yeor, the Nile, saved you when you were a baby, as we all remember, after 3 months of birth of Moshe Rabbeinu, V'lo yachela od atzefino, said the Torah Kedusha that the mother of Moshe Rabbeinu put him in the Yeor until Bat Paro came. We all know the story, but the main idea is you benefited from the Yeor. You benefited from the Nile. Then you cannot punish him. You cannot turn the Yeor into blood because it will be against your level of hakarat tov towards the Yeor. So who should do it? Aharon. Which, by the way, in parentheses, we see, if we want to see, that hakarat tov, please try to pay attention to this, that hakarat tov has nothing to do with what you are getting from me as a return. If you did something good to me, the Torah is not worried about you getting reward. Because the Nile doesn't understand, doesn't have a clue of, he doesn't have a heshbonut. I saved you back then, how dare you doing this to me now? This is a domim, this is not something with feelings. But it doesn't matter. Hakarat Tov is not about my relationship with you. It's rather my relationship with my own self, with my own skills, with my own spiritual development. You pay attention to this? You want me to say it again? I'll say it again. Hakarat Tov has nothing to do with the desire of the Torah that you will get reward for doing something good. It's not a relation, you get this? It's not a relationship between you and me. It's not us. It's a relationship between me and my own neshama, of developing my own neshama to recognize goodness. מהאיש החפץ חיים אוהב ימים לראות טוב. When you're able to see goodness, you will have endless ramifications of greatness in your life. It's not necessarily me developing a relationship with you so you get the reward that you deserve. You get the reward you deserve from Borei Olam. You don't need me for that. But the main idea is that the Ye'or has no idea what he did for Moshe Rabbeinu, neither that he felt he's doing anything for Moshe Rabbeinu back in the days. But the general point is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu, for your own personal development, Hakarat Tov has to be in place. You cannot hate the Ye'or. You benefited from it, you cannot hate it. Clear. My question is, if be'emet Hakarat Tov means, let's try to pay attention to this. This is the question on the table. If Hakarat Tov truly means that I benefited from you, I got some goodness from you, and I cannot give you back something negative, because I cannot pay back in a negative way from someone I benefited from. If this is the case, what does it mean that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, listen, tell Aaron to do it? It's as if somebody gave me $1,000 gift, and I tell him, listen, I really owe you a lot of gratitude, and you know what, I really, really feel that you're an amazing human being. But wait for a second, I'm a little upset at you for something else. I'm about to give you a slap, but I cannot give you a slap to your face because it's not nice. You just gave me $1,000. But relax for a second, I'll call my brother to do it. I will call my brother to give you the slap. Hello, if you don't want to hurt me, don't hurt me yourself, and don't find somebody else to hurt me. Because if in the end of the day you cause me pain, so to speak, for the Ye'or, what difference does it make if Moshe Rabbeinu himself does it or he finds somebody else to do it? If you shall not cause pain to the Ye'or, so to speak, pain, if you shall not pay in a negative way to the Ye'or, what does it mean that you have to tell Aharon to do it? Tell your brother to hit me. How is that Hakarat Tov? You get this? The second thing about Hakarat Tov that requires very, very strong attention is the Gemara. Oh boy, when I learned this Gemara at the very, very beginning and the first time, it hits me very badly. Because it's one of the Gemarot that is very hard to understand. And try to follow me on that. The Gemara is in Masechet Bava Kamma, Daf Tzadik Bet. The Gemara describes the concept of Hakarat Tov. The Gemara describes the importance of Hakarat Tov. And here is the language. Amar le Rava le Rabba bar Meri. Rava told Rabba bar Meri, Mena hamilta de amre inshe. What is the source that people say? Bira deshatit minne maya la tishde bekala. Chachamim are looking for a source to the expression, if you wish, of Hakarat Tov. And listen to the expression. It's really mind-boggling. What's the expression says? Bira deshatit mine maya la tishde bekalla. Meaning to say that if we envision that, here is what the instructions of Hachamim are. If a person is walking in, in a desert, and he's thirsty, and he didn't drink for a long time, and it's hot outside, and he's walking in the desert, mile after mile after mile, and he's getting tired and thirsty, and in the end of the day, he opens his eyes, and he sees a little well with water, clear, clean, healthy water. Obviously, he jumped into it, and he takes some water, and he drinks, and he feels, again, $1 million. Feels great. Good, huh? שהכל נהיה בדברו, בורא נפשות, he fills up some bottles for the way, and he's very happy. At this moment, Hachamim tells him, Mister, listen. As you are ready to leave from this well, make sure you are not doing something. Make sure that I'm not doing what? Make sure that you're not taking stones or dirt and throw it inside the well. In other words, do not make the well dirty. Do not make the water you just drank from dirty. Do not throw dirt into this well. What? When you read these words, and if we try to translate it to our relevant life, you will see that it is almost impossible to understand what is the Torah saying, what Hachamim are telling us. Again, for the sake of the example, if somebody knocks on your door, and we have to call the baby by its own name, we'll call it the way it is. Somebody knocks on your door. You open the door, and he sees you, and he say, hey, mister, I heard that you have a little difficult time. Here is $5,000, support your family, have a great life. Now imagine that this person gave you the $5,000, you look at him, and you close the door, and you don't say anything. You don't say thank you, you don't acknowledge that, you don't show appreciation. I think you should go on training on how to be grateful for someone who did something good for you. If you just don't do anything, I think you're missing something very serious in your life. How dare you not acknowledge it and not thank him? Makes sense. But what do you think about this person that got the $5,000 from the guy, and as he gets the $5,000, he slaps the person that gave him the money? And if you wish, he cursed him too. And he kicked him out of his house. Get out of my house. What do you think about this person? I don't think this person needs a course or a therapist that will help him to learn Hakarat Hatov. I think this person needs a psychiatrist, an expensive one. For a lack of a better word, and we're not professionals, psychiatrists here, I think he's sick. I don't think it's far away from truth. The guy is mentally unstable. Somebody gives you a gift of $5,000, you slap him. You slap him on his face, you crazy. You're completely meshuga, 100% meshuga. So when the Torah, when Hachamim tells us, Bira deshatit mineh, if you drank water from the well, Hachamim are instructing us, do not put dirt in the well. Who are we talking about? What would we call that person that can put dirt from to the well he just had water from? Is he a person that is missing a Hakarat Hatov? Is he a person that lacking some kind of midot tovot, or is he completely mentally ill? So what is the Gemara tells us? Do not be crazy. What our Hachamim teaches us? Bira deshatit mine maya. Do not throw dirt into it. What does Hachamim tell us? What our Hachamim tells us? Do not be crazy. Do al mishuga. We're going to try, Rabotai, to dig into this, to understand the concept of Hakarat HaTov in a little deeper understanding that always exists between us as people, but we're not always paying attention to that. And I would say that especially because major part of it is dwelling is in our subconscious level. But it's definitely there. Rabotai, what does it mean when I say the words, I owe you? It is pretty simple for us to understand that if somebody did a favor to you, you are in trouble in business, you're in trouble in anything in life, and someone came as the Moshiach and gave you something. Somebody supported you and gave you help. You immediately feel the concept of I owe you. Yes or no? Makes sense to you? Good. I owe you. I owe you Hakarat HaTov for coming to the SHIUR today. Because you made an effort to come, so I owe you something. If somebody gave you $5,000, $10,000 as a gift to support you, you owe him. Makes sense. But when I say I owe you, what am I actually saying in the relationship between us? When I say I owe you, here is how it works. I'm basically declaring that up until the point that you did nothing for me, you and I were equal. Human beings are always equal. Human beings are always equal in value. There is no one human being on the planet Earth that he is better than you. The healthiest relationship in the world between people, all kinds of people, is to understand that we as humanity are equal people. The moment you help me and now I owe you, there is a broken balance. Now we are playing a world of superiority. When I am in a need and you are the one that supports me, you elevate yourself as the supporter, and I am now below you. When I am below you, you broke the balance of equality between human beings. Does that make sense? You get this? Now, I know it's going to sound terrible, but the worst feeling a human being will ever agree to live with is to be below you. To be below someone else. The moment any human being is going to try to play superiority, and by the way, there are so many people who play this role. I don't know if you ever heard some people that can do a favor to someone and can use a terrible language towards each other. and say, you forgot. When you came to America, you were nothing. You were nobody. I made you who you are. I made you who you are. And some people are using Pesukim, Bar Minan, for their own sake of a sickness of superiority. They can use Pesukim. Me'ashpot yarim evyon. Me'kimi me'afar dal. I took you from the dirt, from the floor, from the ground, and I lifted you, I supported you, I helped you. You owe me your life. There is nothing worse that a human being is willing to accept than feeling I owe you and I'm under you. And by the way, there is a halakha like this. Even if you lend money to a person, lo tiye lo ken noshe. The Gemara said, as mentioned halakha too, if you see someone that owes you money, you lend somebody $1,000 and he owes you the money, you shall not walk on the same sidewalk with him. If you see him coming forward, move to the other side, not purposefully, purposefully, but not showing it's purposefully. But you move to the other side to prevent the discomfort of you seeing him. He doesn't want you to see him. Because he might be embarrassed. Embarrassed of what? What does embarrassment come from? Embarrassment comes from, I am below you. You are on the top, and I am below. I'm in the bottom. There is nothing worse than a human being feelings to feel below you. Now in Hakarat HaTov, this is the point. In Hakarat HaTov, there are two separate participants. There are two separate people involved in it. The one who is giving and the one who is receiving. Morai v'Rabotai, when we receive a favor from someone, and this person makes me feel below him, and this person makes me understand that he's superior and I'm under, I have now two choices. Either to elevate myself to your level or to pull you down to my level. Either I elevate myself or I pull you down. Because one thing will determine my directions. I must go back to equality. I will do whatever it takes to go back to equality. And if you try to elevate yourself, trust me, expect me to even do something bad back to you so I can go back to equality. So basically in Hakarat HaTov, we need to understand that there are two players here. There is the one who gives, the one who receives. And when the giver understands that he's giving and he's still equal to you, this is a healthy Hakarat HaTov. You should never worry about getting hate back. I remember one of my rabbis, Zecher Tzaddik V'Kadosh Livracha, Chacham Menachem Batzri, Alav HaShalom, is to be the head of Talmud Torah Sukkot David in Yerushalayim. I was teaching in Sukkot David. I had the privilege to teach in the Talmud Torah years ago, maybe 30 years ago. And I remember coming to his office one day and I said, Hacham, I need a very big favor from you. And he said to me, here is the door. Feel free to leave. I said, Hacham, what happened? I didn't even tell you what I need. He said, yes, you did. What did I say? He said to me, you asked me for a big favor. And let me teach you something that you will learn in life. He said, look, when you do a favor to someone, you usually get back a stone. אתה מקבל אבן. You get a stone back to your face. Small favors, small stones. Big favors, big stones. I cannot accept big stones anymore. So if you want a big favor, I'm not the right address for that. And you pay attention to this and you see. I've heard somebody said to somebody, I don't understand why Peloni, why this guy hate me. I never did a favor to him. I don't know why he hates me so much. I never did a favor to him. As if when you do a favor, you understand why you get it back this way. This is a very important thing to know. That as much as responsibility we have to recognize the goodness and to acknowledge and to appreciate and to be grateful for it, the other side, the giver, has the equal responsibility to never feel, when you owe me, I own you. When we give someone the feelings that they owe us, and we feel superior because I am the giver and I did for you, the moment you give someone a feeling that you owe him, that you own him, expect a slap to your face and you'll get it. I'm not just saying you're going to get it, you probably deserve it. When the Torah said, when Hachamim said, Bira deshatit minne maya la tishde beqala, when you go and you drink the water and you feel that this well saved, this is an expression, this is an illustration, this is a metaphor. Do not give him back a slap. Do not put dirt to the well, because naturally you will. If you feel that the well saved your life and you owe him your life, when you become the owner of the person you did a favor to, you deserve the slap. Not from him, but you deserve the slap. I don't think it's an easy topic to digest. Bear with me on that. Moray v'Rabotai, that's why when Moshe Rabbeinu comes to the Nile, what was the Nile for the Egyptians? Again, metaphorically, because that's not the point. We're not talking about emotions and feelings of a Nile. But what was the Nile for the Egyptians? It was their God. It was their God. The entire concept of the journey, of the education process, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to teach Paro and the Egyptians, is that this universe has one Borei Olam, and he runs the world. Vida'atem ki ani Hashem, leman saper shemi bechol haaretz. We need to take the other gods, so to speak, forces, powers in the world, and educate them in the existence of Borei Olam and the world management of the creator, Borei Olam, in this world. So Mr. Nile, if you play God, you will get a slap. Not from me. Not from me. But you will get it from my brother. Not from me, Moshe Rabbeinu, because you did something for me. I'm limited. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling Moshe Rabbeinu the Nile has to get a slap. Again, metaphorically, because this is not a human being with feelings. But the Nile has to get a slap. Because if you play God, you will get the slap. Not from me, because you did a big favor to me, but you will get it. I'll manage to find somebody to do it. So back to our question, the original question. Is Hakarat Tov, is recognizing the goodness a natural thing to do? The answer is, I believe, yes. As long as the giver does not play superior. Because the giver is not superior. The whole concept of giving doesn't make you superior. You're giving from the blessing, Borei Olam, you are the messenger of Borei Olam. You did a great thing by giving, being kind, no question. But you're not superior than me. The ashir, the rich, is not superior than the poor. And even if the ashir is getting the fake respect, the fake kavod in the world, it doesn't make him superior than the poor guy. He's nothing but a messenger. And if you understand that, you understand Hakarat HaTov. And if you don't play ownership, if you don't play God on me, and you don't play superior on me, I will recognize the goodness. I'll be happy to acknowledge you. But if you break the balance, expect the slap. Not from me, but I'll manage to make sure you'll get it. Moray v'Rabotai, that's why. That's why Hakarat HaTov is being taught to us at the very first age, first beginning of life, towards Borei Olam. Hakarat HaTov, by definition, starts and ends with someone who is superior. And that's why Hakarat HaTov to Borei Olam, it's easy. Because Borei Olam is superior. Borei Olam is above us. Borei Olam is the oxygen we breathe. And if we want to understand Hakarat HaTov, we should start there. Rabotai, I can tell you this in a very practical level. I see a lot of people in the world that when you ask them how is life, how you doing in life, you will hear so many terrible words of lack of gratitude, lack of the ability to count the blessings we have, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has blessed us with. Moray v'Rabotai, in most cases when you see people who are not happy and excited about life, it has to do with our blindness, with the lack of ability to see how blessed we are by HaKadosh Baruch Hu on a daily basis. And my invitation to every single one of us is start to open our eyes to see the greatness, to see the blessings HaKadosh Baruch Hu is blessing us with. And when you pay attention to it, you see that Chachamim created, Anshe Knesset HaGedolah created for us. At the very first moment we wake up in the morning, we have a whole blessings known as Birkot HaShachar from Modeh Ani. And I do feel, and I have to say, that I'm talking about myself and I'm not talking to anybody. I'm talking to my own self, but out loud. Rabotai, it's so sad that we say Birkot HaShachar every single day. Every single morning, we say the words, but we don't feel them. We don't feel them in the way that they have enough power to affect the way we feel. They have not enough power to affect the way we experience life. Even though we know it. We know it. When we say, Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam Asher Yatzar את האדם בחוכמה. וברא בו נקבים, נקבים, חלולים, חלולים, אשר יצר. We said the beracha after we go to the restroom and we come back and everything works. Moray v'Rabotai, needless to say, we know it. How many people do we know that are willing to pay $10 million to be able to go to the restroom, come out where everything works? We don't feel it. We take it for granted. We say, Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam Pokeach Ivrim. What kind of a blind people we're talking about? Us. How many people in the world would pay whatever they have to be able to open their eyes and to see and to understand what they see and to translate what they see into actions? For them to have the ability to see colors, to see nature, to see Borei Olam. Shamayim mesaperim kevod el. We read Birkot HaShahar. We don't say them. Because, Rabbotai, we should know that if we would have the ability to increase Hakarat HaTov in the world to Borei Olam, who is the superior in the world, who is the ultimate superior in the world. When we start to recognize the goodness of Borei Olam, when we start to recognize the blessings Borei Olam blessed us with, it will turn every single one of us into the happiest people in the world. Happiest people in the world. If we're able to wear the proper glasses to see the goodness, to see the blessings. And when we practice on Borei Olam, when we practice on the obvious goodness we need to be grateful for, we will be able to see the greatness of one another. We will be able to see the greatness of every human being, of every B'Tselem Elokim, bara et Adam. We will be able to see the greatness, the goodness, the purity of every human being. And when we see the greatness of every human being, we will be able to be kind to one another and to be grateful for one another. And when we are grateful for one another as one spiritual being, we can connect the relationship we have between us and Borei Olam and between us and others. And we make the entire world into one shlemut, into one complete spiritual healthy being. And that's the level of Hakarat HaTov we need to practice. Moray v'Rabotai, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us the zechut to have this level of Hakarat HaTov towards Borei Olam and towards each other. And we're going to make this lifetime a very, very meaningful, purposeful, and the most beautiful gift HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed us with. Thank you for coming tonight.